Hello, my name is Nick Smith. Um, I am in group number 5. Privilege and power will be our foundation, and I chose the mono-casual theory, which is conflict theory. For many centuries, I would say long time, there's been a pretty unfair privilege and power. This is something a lot of people have grown habitual towards, I would say. Uh, Mostly because they don't want to jeopardize the idea of the American dream. A lot of people saying with the American dream, they'd say that the lower class almost looks up to the rich because of the money they have and how they wish they could get there at some point. Um, I don't think I'm not so sure about that. That you take away the hope of the lower class if you gave them more incentives, I guess, to get rich instead of holding them down. Uh, the theory that I used was the mono-casual theory. Um, it's pretty important, I would say, to understand this theory because it really surprised me how much I I agree with the theory. The with mono-casual theory it goes the belief that the only real important objective in society would be money, and then that everything else is secondary to money. Um, I think that's pretty true. I think that a lot of people get away with a lot of things because they have money, or they can afford more opportunities because they have money, such as committing a rape crime and just having the money to get out of that, or having the money to not have as much time in jail, or having the money to become president. I mean, a lot of people these days, they can't become president because they don't have the money to fund their campaign, but people can become president because they have money to fund their campaign. An example is President Trump. I would say that he had a good amount of money, and it really helped funding for his campaign. Something that really surprised me when I was doing my research outside of our foundation was that Trump never had any any political world. He was never in it before, and it's hard to believe because when he was in presidency, it seemed like he did, but I guess he didn't. But that just shows that money can really take you anywhere. Because he had enough money to run for president of the United States and get votes because he had enough campaigns out, enough just everything really to become president. It's just crazy to me. But the gap between the wealthy and poor really has been around for a while. Another thing I found outside of our foundation was that in 1957 there was a man named Griffin, and the court failed him because he was unable to buy his stenographic transcript in a court case, and this was because he didn't have any money really to do it, or he didn't have a lawyer to help him get it, and the court just they gave him an unfair ruling, really, because he didn't have this. So if someone was in that same position that had money, were to go in with a lawyer with money, being able to buy their stenographic transcript, they would have had a less harsh sentence, if any sentence, because of this. But it just goes to show how money really does manipulate the court systems, even, because that's just an example. It goes back all the way to then. But with New Hope, there's a generation, the younger generation, are fighting not only the rich against the poor, but the younger against the older generations now are fighting. And this kind of goes hand in hand, I would say. The younger generation, normally less money, with the older generation that has more money. But not only that, but they've started a lot more movements, and something that I've noticed ever since all these movements went on, I looked up the poverty rate for the past 4 years, and it's only been going down. I mean, the poverty rate has only been going down. And I would like to say that it's probably a lot because of what the younger generations are doing. When there's new when there's new court cases that are being passed for the rich to get more rich, if it is being pushed through the courts by a single individual with lots of money, many times it doesn't get stopped, or if, unless, I mean, it's super extreme, but if it's getting passed through the courts, the sound way through the government, a lot of the times when it gets passed through the courts, through the government, and it helps the rich, a lot of people understand that it helps the rich and it doesn't help the poor. So there's more upset when that happens, I've come to learn. And when the individual's doing it, there's not as much upset because they do it more sneakily, if that's even a word. But yeah, they use different terminology and whatnot just to get it through. I was pretty impressed with their foundation. I enjoyed it a lot, watching it, reading it. I think I learned a lot of valuable things out of this, and a lot of things that surprised me. I really did enjoy it though, so I'm thankful that I got to do this assignment.